In this video, I wanted to share with you guys when you need to take risks on Etsy in terms of designing a product that didn't exist or nobody's selling, or when you need to sell the product that everybody else is selling. Because those two things are very important in your Etsy business. And in this video, I'm going to share with you guys when I decide to be creative and take a risk, and when do I take the safer route, because sometimes it's better to take a safer route and you are going to generate a better luck on Etsy when you do that. If you guys are new to this channel, my name is Vlad. I'm the owner of TacPop, one of the largest pet product stores on Etsy, and my second store is on its way to becoming a top 1% store here pretty soon. And I just opened up a new store this year, and this is what it's doing. So not only have I grown a very successful, big, large store, I'm also very knowledgeable on opening up a store right now. So if you are new, subscribe. And also wanted to remind that my course will be released tomorrow, and you have a very limited time to get the early bird discount. So make sure to sign up. Just give me your email. That's all you have to do. It's not going to cost you. You're not going to buy a course right now, but that way you get the coupon, and later down the road, if you want to buy the course, you have the best deal. So just sign up. It's really not that much. When should you make the decision on being creative and taking the edge, or taking a risk, and when you should sell like everybody else, right? Just copy what people are doing, and that way you're safe. Now, you have to realize in both of those instances, you have to rely on data. You need to acquire the data in order to be able to make that decision. If you don't have data, you are just playing Russian roulette. You're just gambling. And gambling is not something that will build a successful Etsy business. Now, I talk about the funneling strategy when you're doing product research on my course. Again, it's going to be super extensive on the kind of product research that I do that shows great success. By the way, that's how I was able to discover the $500,000 product that I sold on my very first Etsy shop. And it works. Like, this stuff works, but it only is when you are doing data-driven product research and keyword research. When you have a data-driven product and keyword research, and this is what you need to consider: is the product saturated or is it not saturated? When it is saturated, and this is just a rule of thumb, you need to take a risk and you need to be unique in your own way. If it's not saturated, it is okay to copy what is working with smaller stores. Smaller stores, the reason why you have to look at smaller stores is because they don't have much to offer to the customers, like reviews and other products. That means that one product is generating all their sales. And if they're one of the few, there's not that much competition of that particular product. You understand, hey, there's not that many people that sell this. If I sell literally the exact same thing, I will succeed. Now, there's another form of this. Not necessarily is it a new shop, but it is a hard to achieve product, which means not that there's few people because nobody discovered it. There's only a few people because not that many people have the equipment to do that product. When you have that situation, then you also just need to create a very simple, to the point product. When I used to do graphic design, I used to call these vanilla latte logos. I used to do logos for companies, and I would usually give them 5 variations of the logo that they wanted. You know, you'd have your first meeting, you're saying, what do you want to do with this logo? What do you want it to look like? And then I obviously bring my professional insight on what the logo should be, considering they're going to embroider these on hats, they're going to use this for their Instagram. So the logo has to have a particular kind of simplicity, but yet at the same time, not be too simple to not have this confusion on what the logo is about. So I would give 4 variations of my professional opinion, and the last one, I would also always have these vanilla latte logos. I just know that generally companies, they like logos like this, even though they're not practical, they're very not useful. They have too fine lines, too thin of lines, but I just know that this company tends to gravitate towards those kind of logos. And I would always include that. And far too many people choose that one over my professional opinion. Now, many times I went on a soul searching when that happens, because like, am I even professional? To be fair, a lot of these businesses it is their business and it's their final decision. And so I oftentimes include that because I know that that's what they want. And so when you are designing product and you have that opportunity to be one of few people that make that, it is understanding the vanilla latte approach when you're like, everybody sees this product and this is what they're expecting to see, and I'm going to design that, and I'm not going to go crazy. However, when do you go crazy, or when do you go creative on your product, right? You go creative on your product when there is a massive saturation of that product. Not only is it saturated, but it has to have the second element of saturation, right? You're not just selling t-shirts, right? The second element of that is you have to have variation when you are doing keyword research or product research. And like I said, I talk about this extensively on the course. When you are doing product research and keyword research, you need to look for indicators that show you there are variations of that listings. When you're selling leather wallets, you can only sell so many wallets. But when you are selling something like a dog bandana, well, there are so many different fabric types that people have preferences for. Somebody might want camo, somebody might want floral, somebody wants embroidered, and somebody wants vinyl. So there are variations, and you need to find evidence of this variation. When you found evidence of the variation and it has high traffic and good click-through rate, this is a product you want to invest into, and you want to be creative. But how creative do you need to go? Well, there's a limit. And there's a threshold. So there's a limit, there's a threshold, and there's a limit, and you need to stay within that window. How do you determine both of those? Well, the threshold is that you need to not be drowned out by the ocean, right? If you look at all your competitors and you see this is what they're looking like. Let's just say there's a lot of floral. There's a lot of floral bandanas. Well, let's just say there's a lot of, bold, monotone color bandanas, right? With a little bit of texture. So you're saying, hey, there's not enough floral. By the way, that's what I did with my dog collar. I realized there wasn't enough floral dog collars. Now they're all over the place because I was the top selling pet product, but I was the top selling dog collars. Now they're floral everywhere. That doesn't work for that anymore. But there was not that many floral dog collars. And I was like, that's going to be separating me from everybody. So that was the threshold, right? That is where I'm going to go beyond, is I need to create some structure, some texture. There's actually a strategy when you're assembling your thumbnail. Let's just say you have 3 different variations. It is very important that you don't overpower with one texture. You don't overly stimulate your customers on a particular kind of texture. For example, if you have a floral design, make sure that that's the only floral design in that thumbnail. The other 2 have to be more monotone. One could be a main color, just one color, and the other one could be a texture, but not too much of a texture. So there's a hierarchy play in the thumbnail. And that's kind of on a bigger spectrum. When you're looking at all those listings, you have to understand what's the texture that is missing. What is the eye thing that people are going to catch if I design that? Now, this is a rule of thumb, and it's not always true. But when I discovered that there wasn't floral, I needed to create a floral pattern. However, how far of a floral pattern do I go? Or do I do a crazy floral that's just off out of this world? No, there was a limit, right? Because floral was missing. I know customers that want floral, when they see a collar, when they see a thumbnail, I want them to see a flower, right? They're not going to see a very small, I sell a lot of those where they're greenery and there's a lot of little flowers on the texture. There's just, if you see a dog collar this size, there's a lot of many different florals. They're kind of small. No, I had to come up with a texture that shows a big flower literally on the side of the dog collar to say, hey, this is a floral dog collar. And that's the strategy. That's the limit that I went beyond. I didn't go too crazy with a lot of flowers. I want to make sure at least one is clearly visible that this is a floral dog collar. So there's the window, okay? First is you got to see how can you stand out? How can you create the hierarchy that your listings will supersede visually than your competitors, or at least stand out on its own right? By the way, this is also important as customers are favoring different designs. If you are more likely to stand out, they're more likely to favor your design. That's very important. How far you need to go? Well, you don't go crazy. Try to understand vanilla latte, right? You try to understand, well, what do people understand when they think about floral? However, you need to discover the trending colors. You need to discover what's trending in style. That's also kind of a threshold that you need to have when in regards to design, but you don't want to go too crazy, especially if you are one of the few. When you are one of the few, you don't have to go crazy. So let's recap a little bit. When it's saturated and there's evidence of variations, you need to create uniqueness and scarcity in visuals. However, if there is very few competition and you've discovered very small shops are only selling this, that it is temporary. You can make a lot of money, but it is temporary, at least for a year or so. I find that to be true. Or if it's hard to achieve, and this is where the benefits of having big equipment or expensive equipment is you're one of the few people that will be doing this for a long time. And that is very important. I use the same strategy to generate a $500,000 product. Now, there are things that you need to know in order to build this product, what are the aspects of the listing that you need to be aware of that I talk about in this video. So go ahead and check it out. And remember, the course will be released tomorrow and the early bird discount is going to go away and it's going to default to its original price. So make sure just put your email in and I will send you the coupon when it is released tomorrow. Until next time, have a good one.